John, and it's very heavily dependent on books like Daniel. Very heavily dependent on books like Daniel. Now, that would mean Christianity is very apocalyptically oriented, at least from the scripture we have. The Dead Sea Scrolls are very apocalyptically oriented too, which make the Dead Sea Scrolls, even at face value, closer to Christian outlook, shall we say, on things than Jewish outlook on things. You say, well, what do you mean Jewish? Well, rabbinic Jewish, which became quite literary and legalistic and you know, more of a study-oriented approach to things, which is why the Talmud literally means study. Study of the Holy Book, study of traditions, recording of traditions, stories sometimes, midrash stories, traditional stories. But that literature came into being in the 2nd century AD to the 5th or 6th century AD. As I told you, rabbinic literature and Christian literature developed side by side at the same time from around the 2nd. You can date the church fathers of Christianity from around the 2nd century AD to the 6th century, 5th century. They're the same. I've always said in my work, they're two sides of the same coin. They're both developing under Roman rule. That's very different than this literature, which is an independent literature. And that's very different from scroll literature, which is also an independent literature. I mean, independent, it is the expression of how can I put it? Not a people under foreign control. Powerful foreign control. You may object to that, but I think that's a good way to see it. And therefore, it's a totally different spirit, which is why I disagree with you on your point about whether Esau was mentioned in the Bible. That's a later development from a different outlook. People who had to use a code. Esau is Rome, but it's not in the early literature because Esau wasn't Rome. There was no Rome. So in the scrolls, I think Esau may be Rome too. I can show you one thing that will be close to code about Rome in some of the literature. I think it's in Psalm 37, Pesher. They say, what's a Pesher? Anyone? It's not what we call in Yiddish Pisher. It's a Pesher. You might get that joke, but it is a joke. But the one I just told you in jargon is a little kid, you know, because he goes to the bathroom. That's why they would call him that. But Pesher is something different. What's a Pesher?
Portion.
No.
Commentary.
Huh?
Commentary.
Well, that's what it's become, but it really means an interpretation. Yeah, commentary. We now call it like. So I hope you're okay. The Psalm 37 commentary. But it's not really a commentary. It's really an interpretation. It's based on a word in the actual language of the text itself that says Pesher HaDevar. And it's actually in the thing. The Pesher HaDevar. Now, if you know any Hebrew, you can say that the interpretation, ha is the, and that's a genitive, so it's of the interpretation of the thing, or the word, or the passage. The interpretation of the thing, or of the passage is as follows. Pesher HaDevar, and it gives you the interpretation. So it's more, even though we call it commentary, I think that's really probably misleading, which is why I never use that word if I can avoid it. I always call it Pesher, Habakkuk Pesher, Psalm 37 Pesher. Because Pesher means the interpretation of the thing. A very peculiar interpretation to say the least. But I think in the Psalm 37 Pesher, or commentary as sometimes called it some translation. You could get something about Rome under a code of that kind. In any case, the scrolls are apocalyptic, a lot of apocalyptic ideas go in the scroll, which is why Daniel's very highly prized book at Qumran. I've already told you, but I'll repeat it. Qumran is a handy, jiffy way of saying Dead Sea Scrolls. It gets tiresome all the time to say Dead Sea Scrolls. I remember when we were out digging, when the controversy over the scrolls was at its height in the late 80s. Joe Garagiola was on Channel 4 television in the morning show, and he interviewed us and out in the Qumran cliffs about all the controversy, and they had it taped into New York or wherever it was going, and he said, "Now we will hear about the deep sea scroll." Joe Garagiola was a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, I think. He got on, and he's before your time. Some of you remember Joe Garagiola. He was on TV, but he used to be first a sports announcer, then a newscaster. Ain't got on these days. The deep sea scrolls. Yeah, people get tired of that. So Qumran is a really quick, handy way. We just refer to it as Qumran. Now that's the Arabic name for the area of the ravine in which the scrolls, the runoff ravine, where the scroll caves and settlement was found along the Dead Sea. Wadi Qumran it's called. Wadi Qumran. Wadi means well, river, runoff channel, what you would call in California an arroyo. An arroyo, but also in Arabic can be known as river. In Spain it became river, which is why all the big cities in Spain are known as Guadalquivir something. For instance, Guadalquivir is the big river in Spain. Do you know what Guadalquivir means? It's where all the big Spanish towns in the south of Spain, which was conquered by Arabs in the 700s. Do you know what Guadalquivir means? The big river where Cordoba is? Well, it just means that. Guada is wadi. Kabir in Arabic is big wadi. You know, Grand Canyon, big wadi, Guadalquivir, the Guadalquivir, the big river. I don't know what Guadalcanal means, but it's similar. You know. Any other Guadalupe? You know, anything with Guada is from the Arabic wadi. You think of any other Guadal things in Spanish?
Guadalajara.
Guadalajara, there's another one.